Coach Sando, here we are. I've asked you to prepare like a top 10 frequently asked question from prospective clients, riders of yours, your training, and you've given that to me. So I've got this list here, and I'm just literally going to read them out, and I would love your answers to each one of these. May I?
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so I already ride 5 days a week. Isn't that enough of a workout? Like, how would you answer that?
That is one of the biggest questions that I get. And here's what I say. We cannot confuse skill work with physical work. And here's what I mean by that. The skill work is on the horse. There is no such thing as a sport-specific exercise for any sport. Our job is to prepare your body for the demands of your sport. And it could all be general types of training. And that will give you the ability to go and ride more for a longer period of time without it depleting a lot of your resources, because now the work becomes easier because you're stronger. So when you ride a lot more, you're getting the skill to ride. But say you ride 5 horses, and I'm going to make up an arbitrary number. Riding 5 horses is a 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. Physical training will make the same 5 horses, you performing the same skill and task, but now because you're stronger, it's a 5 out of 10. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely.
It makes you more resilient. So again, skill work is not the same as physical work.
Understood. Okay, question number 2. Many riders say they don't have time to train off the horse. When do you help them fit it into their busy lives?
So I want to say this, and I want to be as caring as possible, because it could come off. It could come off a little off-putting, insensitive.
But you got to give it straight.
But I got to give it straight. Time isn't the issue. Priorities are. What you got to understand is when you're training, if you prioritize it, you're not just training your physical abilities, you're actually improving the longevity and the health of your horse. And when you think about it like that, you'll make training a priority and you'll fit it in. Because anything that is a priority for us, we will fit it in. It doesn't matter what sport, if you play sports or not. It's just getting it to a point now that it becomes your priority enough that you don't need motivation, and that you can just make it something that you do, a long-term habit, if you will.
Excellent. Understood. Okay, number 3. How do you handle riders who are coming back from injury and are afraid of re-injury or pain?
That is a great question, because it is going to highlight how we work within our high performance team. Step 1, when rider gets hurt, their confidence is shook when they're coming back. We got to get them with our mental performance coach. She's going to set the foundations of what the trajectory is of the training, what she has to do off the horse mentally, and then to make sure that they have the nutrition with our sport dietetic, to make sure that they have the fuel and the resources needed to heal properly. So it's not just the physical stuff that I do, because what we try to do is assess how strong they are, assess if they went to a PT. I'm going to guess 75% of these riders, when they get hurt, don't go to physical therapy.
Wow.
Why?
Why?
Because they're going to get told, you need to be off your horse for 4 to 6 weeks. Oh, that's not a thing in riding. So I love these people because I love the passion. They will be in a wheelchair and they will be try to see how they can fit that wheelchair on top of their horse.
I see. Wow.
Right? It's like, my hip doesn't hurt when I ride. You know, whatever they tell themselves, the brain is powerful.
Yes, it is.
The brain is powerful, and these athletes go out there and they do it all while being hurt. But in our experience, it's even if you didn't, it doesn't mean your horse doesn't adapt or is trying to adapt for your injury. It doesn't mean that you're not putting yourself in more danger.
So look, your injury is not only having a negative effect on you when you're riding, it's having a negative effect on the horse.
Yes.
And care about both of those things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, understood. Wow. Okay. Number 4, nutrition, huge topic.
Yeah.
What are the most common mistakes riders make when fueling themselves?
Undereating. 100%. Since I started working with people online and asking that question, 100% of riders undereat. There's not been one that is even at maintenance, all undereat. And here are the effects of that. When, especially for a female, a woman, when you undereat, you start to change all of your hormonal systems. You start to get situations, and you put in positions where now you're getting autoimmune disorders. Some women early on start to get premenopause earlier than expected. I think my earliest case, someone was in their 30s when they started getting premenopausal symptoms.
All from undernutrition.
All from undernutrition. She had been on a diet since she was 13.
And what is that thinking? Is it that I want to maintain my weight? I want to lose weight? Like, where's the undereating stemming from? Generally,
the culture, gotta be light. I mean, in our forum, we have a question: have you been diagnosed, or do you know if you have an eating disorder? I know I have the licensure with our registered dietitian to work with people with that population, but it's a thing. When I learned how big it was, I didn't think it was a big thing.
I get it, yeah.
But when I started learning, I started going, whoa, I can't. If I'm gonna service these people correctly, I gotta have someone on my team that can help this, because it's not just a little bit of undereating. It's years of being on a diet to try to help. So our first step, when we know that that's what's happening, is to have them work very closely with a registered dietitian to, at whatever level they're at, start to heal that symptom of undereating, or that I would call it even a disease of undereating, and making it so that we can get out of there in a healthy way. So that way they can be healthier for their horse. Because here's the thing, and this is something that our mental performance coach said, is when someone undereats, it makes them more, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes them more vulnerable to having breakdowns at shows, because they already have a high stress of being underfed. So your tolerance to adrenaline and to stress is already capped.
Yeah, weaken, yeah.
And then when you go into an environment that is high stress, you lose it. And you're just thinking, I need a mental performance coach. No, you need a team to be able to talk you through it, but then also have strategies on how to work your way out of it.
You know, and this could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like, the whole idea we spoke about in another episode was, if I lift, I'm going to get huge, right? And it's like, no, you're not. It's if it was that easy, trust me, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I know, it's partially the same way of like, hey, the fuel you're going to intake is being used properly as part of your training, et cetera. It isn't going to, let's just say, the wrong places, the wrong sources. Do you agree with that? I mean,
I do, and I think a lot of riders do know that. It goes back to the time and being able to manage it well and to prioritize having your meals.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to make you be a good trainer, not just a trainer, meaning coach, because they use that word.
I see.
That's their trainer is the coach of my riding.
Yeah.
But also a trainer of the horses, right? Also, when you're sitting on those horses and being well fed makes it so that you can communicate a lot better. And some people would argue, well, I only eat once a day and I think I do fine. The body adapts.
It does.
The brain adapts. Your fine is its adaptation to not having fuel.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I have a friend, he always just had problems sleeping. And he tried a sleep apnea machine. And he was like, this is what it feels like when you get oxygen. Oh my God. You just don't know how tired you are until you get that rest and that breathing and that oxygen. And you're like, oh my God. Or when someone gets a valve replaced in their heart. And now they're like, why do I have all this energy? It's called blood running through your body.
Yeah. I get that.
Right.
Totally.
So that's
taking it from my own personal life, like my wife, we have 2 small children. She's eating on the run constantly. And I suspect that many of your clients have similar scenarios in life, right? There's life outside of what their sport is, although it's a huge part of their life. It's not their entirety of their life. There are other inputs, busy work life, busy personal life, or both on top of it that have a negative effect, and that one needs to be directed and coached how to undo that. You said it. It's not 1 month, 1 year. This could have been half a lifetime of these type of things.
Forever. I think it's going to be a process that this journey never ends to be healthy. And I think what a lot of our riders that are in our program appreciate is that everyone on our staff has ridden before, especially like our registered dietitian. She still rides competitively. our mental performance coach, she used to be what's called a professional groom. So she worked as an assistant and at the upper levels and traveled all over the world in that sport.
Wow.
So they have a lot of insight. So it's really hard to give them any reasons why you're not doing what they're asking you to do, because they know your lifestyle, maybe not the personal and what have you, but they know what it takes and they know how you can make it fit in.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a way to make you feel like you're being heard, understood, and that way, and we have experience with telling people, hey, when we work with your nutrition, you're going to be surprised how well you feel. And that if we're adding food strategically to your diet, you're gonna lose weight. We had one person that could not believe.
Ate more.
She ate 1,000 calories more. 1,000 calories more, and lost a ton of weight. And she was baffled. And this isn't specific to performance. There's a lot of actual nutrition people in the social media space that just work with general fitness and weight loss. And they would say the same thing. We don't even educate people on overeating anymore. We educate people on undereating because that's what's stopping. I think it's really easy to find information like don't overeat, but then people then undereat.
Yeah, well, very interesting. Okay, question 5. What advice do you give riders who struggle with nerves or self-doubt before competitions?
I'm always on the back end of conversations with our mental performance coach, and having a background in it myself. The major thing that I would say is at shows, I'm always a big proponent of believing the truth, right? What have you done in your lessons? Do you have it documented? Everything gets documented. How you felt, what were the results, what could you do different? And then that way, that bases your next training lesson. And when you stack up these training lessons, you start to document how many training lessons. So shows are just your interpretation of the hard work that you already did. We start talking about the physical part. Did you do all the physical things needed to be able to handle the stressors? The recovery side. Are you taking time to manage stress? Because we never can eliminate it. But can we manage the stress so that you have more room to handle the stressors of your show? And one thing that I've learned with coaching a lot of athletes is remember that you love your sport. And say that out loud. I love this sport. I love this moment. And what we've learned is love and fear can't live in the same space. So when you focus on your truths, on making it very positive as far as remembering how much you love it, and then you're even thinking, how lucky am I to be on this amazing horse, have an amazing support staff, and I'm gonna go into this show ring and let everybody know the expression of how awesome my team is. And it's not the pressure part. It's more like I can't wait because I love what I do. And so when we start working on those types of thought processes, and more than anything, routines, because we have to train our brain just the same the way we train our body, I think we start to get into a place where now riders can express all the things they've been working on more consistently. Because that's the thing. Can you be consistent enough for the horse to understand what's going on?
Very interesting. And just one thing that popped in my mind too that has helped me in times like this is it's such a finite little piece of time in life, right? Like this, whatever this is, and forgive me, I don't know how long these shows go on for, but I suspect that it isn't some long period of time. We have to perform in like this very little piece, and let's just execute it at the best we possibly can and not allow the negativity and the thoughts and all of that to creep up, right? And it comes into the training, it comes into the practice, everything you're doing. But that I thought of that as well. It's such a small period of time, and sometimes that has helped me get past it. Okay, it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay, fine, but in 1 hour from now, we're way behind it, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's having this broad approach to it and going, well, there's 24 hours, and this thing is going to last under a minute.
Is it that? Wow.
Some aspects of it.
Some aspects.
Some aspects are under a minute. Some are like 5 minutes. But still, 5 minutes, of your day But it's something that all professional athletes work with, and it's a swim meet.
Yeah.
It's something very quick, a sprint.
Yeah.
And so it takes the work of someone that's very dedicated on working on themselves in all these aspects, not just the mental.
Yep.
To be able to put it together
Yeah.
and to have a team to help you put it together. That's the other part, is to have it takes a team to make sure that everything is running on all cylinders.
All right. Question number 6. How do you help riders who've lost confidence after a fall or a negative experience?
Now that I will give all the credit to my mental performance coach. Her work with having a lot of empathy with the riders and having strategies that are science-based. And I want to say that because there are a lot of people that may not work through that approach. And our mental performance coach has all the certifications that you would see at pro level sports. As a matter of fact, hers, it's a requirement when you're working with Las Vegas Raiders that you need this type of certification, not just being a doctor of sports psychology, but you have some type of certification that they, as an association, require.
Wow.
So she does a lot of work with them to be able to identify, relate, create plans, have constant communication, so you get an actionable plan. Because there's different levels from what I've learned of therapy or counseling, coaching, and we try to find the one that is most applicable to the results that person wants, and that has different roads for everybody. But we always bring it back to, you're going to be on a horse this weekend. We got to make sure that you are understanding what you have to execute, what you have to continue to work on, so you can have the best results.
Number 7. What's your response when a client says, I'm too old to get stronger, or I'll never be fit like that again?
The age part, I address by saying, gravity doesn't care how old you are, neither does your horse. Strength is something that you should aspire to get as you're getting older, because it helps you keep your ability to be able to ride. I have every one of my older riders will say 60 plus, get a DEXA scan, DEXA, because I want to know, and I want them to know, what's their bone density. But not only what's their bone density, how much muscle mass do they have? How much fat mass do they have? Because what I want to tell them is, we want to make sure that we're monitoring something called sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle. And what we can find out is, if you have certain levels of sarcopenia, right in back of it is osteopenia. And then right in back of that is osteoporosis. Most of the time when you get a DEXA, it's too late. And they're just telling you, this is how much osteoporosis you have. And this is where you have it. I want to be proactive. And I want to know muscle mass loss. Because at that point, now it's not even about riding. Now it's about your health and wellness, to be able to put on muscle mass, to eat the calories, to build the muscle so that you can walk without breaking and falling possibly and breaking a hip.
Wow.
We want to be able to show them that age is not it's not the deterrent from strength. You just have to view it as the tool that you need for this specific season of your life.
Yeah. And the tools are different depending on what season you're in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not that it's not attainable. It's just that you have to approach it in a different way, right?
Exactly.
I got it.
And we work with a lot of our older clients to make sure that they keep things like the reaction time. Reports are coming out that it's not strength why people fall. It's their reaction to gravity as they're falling, to not having the speed to put a foot down.
Wow. And you're coming up with new stuff, aren't you? Like you mentioned, reaction is something coming.
We're looking at it. We're looking at the research and how we can implement it in an online platform to be able to show people that this is important when you're aging.
Number 8. Many riders think strength training will make them stiff or bulky. What do you say to that myth?
I love that because that's in every sport. Every sport that I've trained over 30-some sports.
Wow.
And every single sport coach or a trainer would say, I don't want my guys or girls to be bulky and stiff. So it's not a rider thing. Every sport thinks they're different, and I'll give it to them. Like, okay, you ride something that is another species. It doesn't communicate per se with words. But then a soccer player could say like, well, I have a ball that I have to work around. Everybody's got their defenses. But here's the thing. Training, if done correctly, will help to stabilize certain joints to allow more mobility, more movement. Stiffness, in my opinion, is because you start getting weaker and then your body starts to get tight because it's in a defense mechanism. I know that there's other reasons, but people try to train for fitness and for sport using bodybuilding strategies. Bodybuilders aren't the most agile. There's some that genetically are still really good athletes, but bodybuilding in itself is just about how much muscle you can build, not how functional, not how limber, no, just how much blood can you get in that thing and pump it up.
Yeah, and how much can you lift at one time, right?
Or the iron discipline of strength training, of powerlifting or strongman.
Yeah.
So it's learning that in your sport, there is strength needed, but the way you train is going to elicit certain types of adaptations that will not be stiff and bulky. Another story, in my college days, I used to always have, especially my female athletes, tell me, Coach, I don't want to drink my protein shake after I work out. It's making me bulky. And then I'd ask questions. Didn't you go to that one frat party? So the pizza and the beer, that didn't make you bulky? Wasn't that Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Oh, you don't think I know when you guys are going out?
That's funny.
Yeah. Blaming this poor protein shake. So the same thing, it's like bulky, we got to figure out if you understand the truth that getting bulky is so hard.
So hard.
That's why people take performance enhancement drugs, PEDs, to get bulky, and you think that your little workout is going to get you to that point. These guys work out 3 hours long, twice a day, and you're going to get in a 20, 30-minute workout, you're going to get bulky.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So it's education. I think it's a lot of education. So that's how I would tie that one up.
Love it. Okay, number 9. What do you tell riders who are frustrated by slow progress or feel like their body isn't, changing fast enough?
What I always try to tell riders is, especially in performance training, it's a journey. There's so many layers that people have to unpack or peel off to be able to get to the results that they want. And the biggest analogy would be the same way that the horses get trained, and their process can be very slow depending on the age, experience. Riders the same way. And especially riders that have a lot of things going on. If you are a husband or wife, professional, kids, and now you have only a certain amount of resources to skill development, to being able to train the way you want, you make adaptations, you make adjustments, you get programs that are going to fit your schedule. And they might be like 15, 20-minute workouts. Yeah. But guess what? We're going to go for consistency. So in the 365 days that we train, we're going to probably get around 335, 340 instead of going all or nothing. And then you're only now doing maybe 1 or 2 a month because you're too busy. Yeah. That stalls progress. So it's defining what progress means, to be honest, in performance training. Yeah. I always tell people, and I just had a conversation today with someone, we are going to watch videos. We are going to look at your check-in forms. I want you to look at all these different pieces, because for performance training, there's some objectivity to it. We got to know, like, oh, these videos you're looking better riding. But there's subjective things that I want you to take part in looking, not just me, so that you can come back and report to me, hey, guess what? I did this. When my knee is not hurting as much. When that way you feel that the progress that you're making is beneficial and you're looking in the right spot. Yeah. Because some people just get so like lasered on, like, oh, I'm not making any progress here.
But you've made progress in 4 other areas that are important, and let's call them micro wins. It's something, right?
We're stacking them. Yeah. And eventually we'll get to this. But some people, I have to tell them, you've been having that hip issue for 10 years and you want me to fix it in 2 months.
Yeah, I get it.
I wish. Yeah. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, sure.
I'm trying my best.
Okay. All right, number 10. If a rider listening today feels stuck, tired, disconnected from their sport, what's the one small step you tell them to take right now to get back on track?
Take a reset. And how you take a reset is by looking at, number one, what is something that you want to accomplish? A lot of times people that are riding, they have a horse that gets injured and they tie everything to the soundness of their horse. So taking a reset would involve when your horse is not up to, is not what they call it lame. When your horse is lame, what are some things that you can do to catch up to its level of fitness when it's sound? Mm-hmm. So reset what your goal is when you have downtime. Number two, you might have to reset the goal that you have in general. Some people, when they know that they've been at a certain level and they can't crack, they start getting, we'll say, the word I'm looking for here, discouraged with the amount of success that they had. And even though they can play it off, we can start seeing the effects of that. And it's probably looking this way. Yeah. So the reset would be, let's look on some smaller scale, small goals that can stack up to get to the goal that you want.
Understood.
We're always into this all or nothing mentality, and we're never about a process. So the reset is make sure that you're looking at ways to improve yourself. Make sure that you're setting maybe smaller goals so that those smaller goals can then start stacking up to your ultimate goal, right? And then I think when you have that mindset change, you'll start feeling a little bit more inspired from what you're planning to do and having the right tools to do and having the right support staff to help map it out for you. So that way it's not overwhelming for you. Maybe all of this is just overwhelming. But when you have a team that listens to you and what you really want and understand what your values are, then we can build a program, and not just exercises, but a complete program for you that is going to keep you consistent. I mean, if I want anyone listening to this to understand what we always focus on, yes, the exercises, because that's what we're getting paid to do. But for me personally, is how can I help you be as consistent as possible, no matter what? So if you come to me and you say, well, right now is not the right time because I got such and such going on. I don't know about you, but I always got something going on. It's always never the right time to start anything. And that's step one. How can we make it fit? How can I keep you consistent? And there's plenty of ways to train to keep you consistent. And I will take consistency over an innovative way to train every single day.
I love it. Coach Sando's top 10 FAQs, must know. I loved it. I learned so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome.